Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. Welcome to another video. This one's going to be short and sweet. Just thought came to me, and well, here it goes. Food for thought. Since money is the artificial representation of the life force, and the ego is the artificial representation of the personality, the inflation of currency is a direct correlation to the inflation of the ego. And so, at least in the United States, the hyperinflation of our currency is a symptom of an onward and continuing inflation of the collective ego. And so the way out, since money is an artificial construct, and since money is ultimately just an idea, perhaps so is the ego, but since money is something that isn't necessarily directly controlled by the person as far as its worth, the solution would be to first tame the ego on the individual level, and then from the individual, then the collective ego is tamed. And once that collective ego, following suit from the individual ego, is deflated, the currency should also, the value of the currency should also directly follow suit. I don't know if I worded that correctly, but point being is inflation of ego and inflation of currency seem to be directly correlated. And so how does one deflate the ego in correlation to money? It would be to use money on what is directly necessary, rather than all the flashy bling bling and all the unnecessary things. That which is vital to life and health. Buy books and learn things. That's great. Invest that money in a way that can in turn come back around and bring you more income. Tools are a great thing. Invest in skill building. That's a great thing. Food, shelter, but money is a representation of time and attention, and that which you spend your time and attention on is where your power goes. So when an individual spends their time and attention on tasks that inflate the ego, by pleasure seeking and pleasure chasing, by sitting there and appealing to one's own pride and status in this world, they end up ultimately devaluing themselves in the process. That's the irony. But they also end up directly contributing to the financial crisis that we're experiencing, which is kind of weird. I used to work in the monetary system a little bit. I did work for banks back in the day, but won't go into extravagant detail on that. But point being is fix the ego problem first. Fix the problem with your own self, one's own self, and the other problems should follow suit. In the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it talks about when the spiritual malady is overcome, the mind and body problems also follow suit. And so it's just kind of it's funny how things correspond to each other in that way. So if you want to see your currency have more value, um, I mean, your time and attention has to have value. Spend it on valuable things instead of arguing with people on the internet, which I'm guilty of at times. Instead of spending it scrolling on YouTube, Facebook, which I'm not on Facebook, but I've been guilty of scrolling on YouTube and other web forums. Instead of spending your time uselessly and frivolously, spend your time on things that bring value to yourself, your family, your community, and then ultimately the world. Get to know your surroundings, get to know nature, spend some one-on-one time with nature, spend some one-on-one time with yourself, meditate a little bit here and there, do your hustle that you need to do, get in touch with reality, truth itself, that which is, and do your best to stay connected to the world around you instead of pumping yourself up and thinking that you have everything figured out, which I've been guilty of that too. This isn't coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of personal experience. I'm more so talking to my past self from a higher self perspective, and at the same time kind of talking to my future self from that same higher perspective. So don't feel as if I'm judging, or do, that's your business, but this isn't coming from a place of judgment. It's just personal experience. If we want to see some sort of improvement in our society, in our direct communities, in the world around us, it all starts within the own individual. And so first things first, gotta tame the ego. I wouldn't say kill the ego, I would say tame the ego. The ego is there to serve you. Don't serve the ego. You cannot serve God and mammon, right? So rather than serve the artificial aspect of who you are, serve the true self, be the true self, and let the ego serve you, right? Because we all have an ego. Whether anyone likes to think that or not, or whether anyone says that or otherwise, being irrelevant. All of us has an ego. Money's still there. Money's supposed to be an artificial representation of the life force energy. That's why there's cash flow, right? It's currency, right? Like a current of water, a current of electricity. It's a representation of the flow of energy, and it acts in the same way that energy works. What you put out, you get back, right? So that's kind of an important aspect of tithing as well. That's same kind of concept. When you invest your money into what people call God, it does come back, right? So just if we want to see the world change, got to change ourselves first. And that's kind of the journey I've been on for the past several months of silence on YouTube. Been trying to work on myself and make sure that I'm in the correct position to be of service, which I fall short on a daily basis at times, but it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress in the right areas. And so I hope you got something out of this. If you did, great. If you didn't, keep coming back till you do. And hopefully you will. If you don't, keep coming back.